Welcome to this Spirit Gathering teleconference. Today is April 16th, 2013, and my name is Amy Skezas. Our topic is caring for souls. We're so glad you've joined us. We're recording this call so that people who could not be here tonight can listen in. Please press either your phone's mute button or *6 to mute your line to help keep the line quiet. Tonight, we meet as a conversation council. This is a peer spirit circle format in which you can speak at any time, only taking care to let the current speaker finish before you begin. In other words, we won't use a talking stick tonight. We'll just be more in regular conversation mode. And one of the great features of a pure spirit style circle is the pause, which we can use as a resource to open space to reflect on what's unfolding with us in the moment. Topsoil will serve tonight as a guardian, ringing a chime for the pause if needed, or when any of you ask for this. You can all say, any of you can say at any time, "I'd like a pause," and he'll ring the chime. And when that chime is sounded, we stop talking and we pause, usually for 3 breaths. Then the person who called for the pause explains the reason why. And then the guardian rings the chime again for another 3-breath pause, and then we resume discussion. So Topsoil, will you ring the chime for the pause so we can hear what you've got? Okay. Thank you. The timekeeper for tonight is Sue. She'll call out with her voice 10 minutes every time 10 minutes have passed to help remind us of the impact of time on our gathering, and she'll also let us know when we're at quarter after the hour. So let's take a moment now to get settled, to center ourselves, to let go of the events of this day, and to begin to enter the deeper sacred space within ourselves. Now let us imagine that we're joining together sacred heart to sacred heart with every other person on this call right now. Now let us imagine that we're joining together in a circle with a light or a flame or a fire in the center. Imagine a spoke of light coming from the center of the circle to your heart. And for each person on the call tonight, or listening in after, the spokes of light going out through time from the center of our circle to connect with others' hearts. That's it. And now we are connected, sacred heart to sacred heart. Now let us set our intentions. We listen to one another with compassion and curiosity. We ask for what we need, and we offer what we can. We deepen our connection with one another and the divine. May this sharing serve us, our communities, and the planet. And so it is. The starting point for discussion tonight is the theme of caring for souls. In thinking about and preparing for this call, I felt very strongly that I wanted to hear your voices, those of you who are willing to share. And if you're listening into the recording afterwards, I encourage you to email this forum, the Spirit Gathering Forum, or me, bishop@tzaddi.org, with your thoughts about caring for souls. Anytime, I'd like to know what you have to say about it. And I was thinking about it because I'm still working on the ministry chapter for the seminary. And I was thinking hard about what distinguishes Tzaddi for me in my life as a path. And I really feel that it's this metaphysical perspective about caring for souls, that clergy typically care for souls, and that in Tzaddi, the way I understand it, which is just my particular perspective, that has something to do with Christ consciousness, as the founders expressed it. There's a sort of a ray or an energy that's underneath Tzaddi. And for me, allowing that to work through me, it doesn't have to happen only in Tzaddi. It can happen in a number of different ways, but it is very, for me, connected with Tzaddi in my particular experience. And it means, as a human being, feeling and expressing compassion and concern, being really in touch with that human empathy, that compassionate heart, and as a spiritual metaphysical worker, releasing my personal resistance, which I often have plenty of, and then aligning and connecting with divine flow, with God, through prayer or subtle energy work or in whatever way. So that's what it means to me to care for souls, is to work kind of at those two different levels at the same time. And I might move back and forth between them. For example, let's say someone comes to me for an energy bodywork session. I'll come from that human level of care and concern and empathy when I greet the person, when they walk into the office or the classroom, when they lie down on the table, when they tell their story about why they're there. I'll feel compassion. Now, I need to be neutral. In other words, if I get too wrapped up in what they're doing, it's going to be very hard for me to get into the empty space, being a hollow bone, that I need to be through to be the channel of light, love, and flow that I want to be for that person. That's the second step, the aligning and connecting with divine flow, being a hollow bone. But at that, if I don't have that human connection, it can seem very alien to the person who then receives this huge influx of energy. It can seem depersonalized. And I feel that it's not only important for that person that I'm helping, but it's also important for me, lest I think that I'm above petty drama, lest I think that I'm, beyond the human condition. It's very good for me to resonate with that person's suffering, not in the sense of letting it take me down, but in the sense of being in humility and curiosity and allowing myself to feel brotherhood or sisterhood, shared personhood, a sense of we, a sense of us. We're human. We're here on this earth together. And for me, that is what makes it about Christ consciousness, is that for me, Christ consciousness is like a middle station between regular, ordinary, everyday awareness as a human being and God consciousness. It's something in the middle. So I kind of feel like I'm straddling two worlds, the world of human suffering, and through my heart and my compassion, I open up to that God consciousness, which for me is a divine flow. And that's what caring for souls means to me. And I did this before I joined Tzaddi, and if I ever left Tzaddi, I'd do it the same way. But the thing that I loved about Tzaddi was I recognized in Tzaddi this straddling. I recognized it in the founders and in the principles, more than anywhere else, and in the energy body. It's like I said, it's a very distinct energy pattern or set of frequencies of subtle energy, and I reside with a lot of my awareness in a subtle energy sensing place. So I'm trying to articulate something that's a little tricky to articulate, and I'm just speaking from my experience. I don't want to say this in a dogmatic way, that this is what it is. So that's where I'd like to start the discussion from. I've shared as best I can what it is for me. Now, I'd love to hear what it is for you. What does it mean to care for the soul? What does it mean when you work with other people and you feel you're caring for their soul? What is your question, or what is your story about caring for souls? So you can unmute your line whenever you like, and we're in conversation council, so we're not going to use the talking stick, and just wait for the other person to finish before you jump in. And at the end, if you can say, "I'm finished now," that's a clear signal. So I'm finished now.
10 minutes.
This is Topsoil. I'd like to jump in. And what I'm drawn to talk about is that I think it seems like culturally there are a lot of different understandings of what a soul is, and there seems to be something about development of a soul. It seems like my understanding of like Catholic or Christian teachings is the soul is something that comes and inhabits or lives through a life, lives through a body, and it seems like in some teachings or some understandings, sin can tarnish a soul or diminish a soul in some sense. There's this sense from the Journey of Souls book, the hypnotherapist who took people to the space between lives, where he has this view of souls on a path of development, and that there's this arc that lifetime after lifetime the soul is learning more lessons and growing, and again it's something that lives through a human life. It seems like there's also something about it being related to karma, that the idea of lessons or of feedback from our actions, that whatever we do sets up the things we experience, like that there's a mirroring back to us from how we are, and what we do is related to maybe part of how we are, the thoughts and the belief patterns we take part in, the energies that we hold and generate going out into the world and then reflecting back to us, and learning lessons through that seems like it's related to this idea of soul growth.
Sorry, I was just wondering if you have a story about it, something that's personal to you.
Well, you also asked if I had a question.
Right.
And I think what I'm talking about is setting up for a question, is putting context for a question.
Got it. Didn't know that.
More than a story. Because I'm very curious, like I don't know that I know what a soul is, and I don't necessarily know what it means to care for a soul. So, these are some of the ideas that I've been interacting with. or that have influenced me that seem powerful ways to look at it. And in terms of community discussion, I do have this question: what is a soul? What does it mean to care for a soul? What of these patterns make sense? What resonates? That's I think more what I was drawn to share and put into the circle.
Got it. Thank you. That's really helpful. Do you have any experience of a soul?
Hi, this is Sally. I think what came up for me when you posed this was, how do I interpret the word care as much as how do I interpret soul? And for me, I really see that the soul, or I interpret the soul to be kind of a reflection of God, the, all loving. And when I think of caring for, it's more to honor the soul, to reflect, and to kind of join in oneness with. And often when I'm caring for someone, it seems to me that it's more that there's like an obstacle to really experiencing the soul. And it's more about being in a place of love and compassion in a way that the other person can receive and connect with the soul in a way that they were not able to previously. And I think for me the challenge is not to get sucked into the more kind of physical issues, the mental, emotional, story issues or whatever, but to actually kind of see beyond or see through and penetrate into a deeper experience.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is Topsoil again. Amy, you asked if I had an experience of a soul, and I don't know, really. I mean, if there is a soul and it's part of life, I experience life, so I experience there being a soul, but I don't know what of the life experience is that experience of a soul and what isn't necessarily. Like, some of these ideas I was talking about, I can extrapolate from those, but that seems to me like it's just working with ideas, and I don't know that any of them are true. I like this conversation about compassion, and that place of sort of bridging the temporal with the eternal, of the Christ consciousness that you mentioned, like the thinking in that way and finding that energy feels really good to me. But I'm not sure is my answer, and then that's complete for now.
Thanks, Topsoil. That's really interesting.
This is Sue, and what I would contribute myself is in thinking this process through, I believe, for me, what is happening when I'm caring for a soul is, I think, topsoil, and I'm sorry, I apologize to the lady that spoke. I forgot your name already. I don't know if it was Diane but anyway, I apologize for that. But what it is for me is, I think both of them hit on several aspects, and I think for me, the thing that I come to is that there are a number of ways and a number of definitions, depending on what your background is, what you've come to in your quest, in your spiritual quest, spiritual journey. Individuals have come to what soul means in their way. Where I go is, I don't know what an individual is. I don't know what their soul journey is, and I'm probably not going to know that. That is something that they know on a soul level, and whatever that soul level is. But how I approach it is, I think both of you or each of you talked in terms of respect. What I come to is, I need to understand myself and my journey first of all before I can help anybody else. And what I've come to on my own journey is an understanding, and I call it the big game that I play in. And where I'm playing is what I call the global expansion of human excellence. And what that means, I don't know what excellence is for each person. But if I can support people in understanding by their definition, exploring who they are, exploring soul, what I think of as soul deep, that's how I support them and help them help care for their soul, help them understand more about who they are, what their journey is, not by my definition, but help them discover more of their journey and who they are on a soul level by their definition. I just take the position I'm not going to really know, what that level is. So that's where I'm coming from. And I just trust if I keep the channel open and I have that intent, then, and if that's where we're supposed to play together, whoever it is, then that's what we'll do. And so it's kind of a vague answer, I guess, but anyway, there it is for what it's worth. And we're at 10 minutes again, and I'm complete.
Thanks, Sue. Can I just ask? I'm not quite sure I heard exactly what you said. Did you use the phrase "the global expansion of human excellence"? Was that the phrase you used?
That's the phrase I used. Yes.
Great.
Yeah,
and very much.
Person by person. I'm sorry.
Say that last thing again.
I interrupted. You were trying to say something. I was just saying what I mean by that is one person at a time.
Got it. I want to say welcome to whoever joined us while Sue was sharing. Who's on the call?
Hi, Amy. It's Bonnie Belos. I just joined.
Hi, Bonnie. Welcome.
Thank you.
We're sharing about if you have a question or a story about caring for souls, how you do it, what you're curious about, what you're unclear about. There's not a right or a wrong answer. We're just wanting to listen to one another and learn from one another about different approaches.
Good. I don't have anything right this moment, just jumping in,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
give me a few minutes to get centered.
Let's get warmed up.
Yeah, thank you.
This is Diane with a little bit of a husky voice. When I think of care of the soul, the word spaciousness keeps coming to me, and that part of the journey as a human being and a human being with a soul and evolution has to do with creating more space around patterns, and it has something to do as a contributor to evolution, the spaciousness, and the spaciousness has a quality of allowing and open and acceptance, and that just seems to be an important cog in the wheel for growth and development and moving more to light in my experience, and allowing for greater love to infiltrate where there had been constriction or a smallness. It can fill with, the space can fill with love and acceptance and allowing and joy and higher vibrational energies. And that's part of the path of growth and what we all, well, what I seek. And I'm finished for now.
This is Nancy, and I'm thinking about the term Christ consciousness that you used, Amy. That feels to me to be a middle way as well. And I guess my experience in general is that sometimes I am being in that Christ consciousness and maybe radiating that consciousness at the depth of my being, even when I'm not aware of it. And I think this is true for all of us, that there are plenty of times when we're with another person, whether it's in a caring for soul capacity officially or sort of unofficially, that we that this shines through us, no matter where our head is at the moment. And I think part of it can be, I experience this happening when I'm listening to another person. I feel that when I'm listening, it could be someone I meet for 2 seconds, when I'm receiving that person's either story or their face or the sound of their voice, I'm receiving that person into my heart. Or maybe I would say with the organ of my heart, I'm beholding that person. It's sort of essence to essence. And when that happens, I experience that there is caring for a soul, both that there is caring happening and that there is an awareness of soul. And I think I'm finished. That's what comes to me right now.
10 minutes. Ying, Thomas, Bonnie, I'm wondering if you have a question or a story about caring for souls. No obligation, just want to make space to hear you. If even if you don't have it crystallized, if it's just something you're mulling over, it would be lovely to hear your voice.
Thank you. Maybe I don't have it all together, of course, but I can kind of fumble my way through. When I think about caring for the soul, I think that we have kind of probably the most amazing job in this whole planet to be of that kind of service. And so every day I get up, I feel really blessed. I feel gifted, and I feel thankful every day that I get up and get to do what I do. What saddens me at times is, and perhaps that's my dilemma, is going to work and being with people, and maybe I'm not clear enough that I truly am. I always feel that I'm just a messenger, and I'm a messenger for the soul. I'm not a messenger for the person, the personality. I'm about the divinity of their soul, about the life of one's soul, about how they live this life. And I sometimes think that maybe it's just how I am with people. I just simply listen, as you say. I am very still. I listen, and then I just follow the threads. I call them sticky notes. I follow the sticky notes, and I follow the threads of where they're asking to go or what they're asking out of me. Sometimes I wonder that I don't do such a good job with saying that I truly am reverent to Source, that I am a messenger. That's all that I am. And that doesn't come from me. It comes from the divine. And I try to be really clear about that. But sometimes I think that it's not conveyed in a way, and it makes me sad. I think that sometimes people miss what I'm about when they're not perhaps looking at me as being a servant of God. And so that's probably would be the questions that I am asking myself this year. What is it I need to change, or how do I need to pose myself or present myself a little better? Because it sometimes can be painful to me when people say, oh, well, I just need your psychic ability. And I'm going, no, I'm not. I'm truly about the soul. And I'm just, I always feel grateful that the wisdom comes through from God, from Source. That's where the gift is. And So it's come up several times this year, and I've got my feelings actually hurt a bit because it felt that a couple of clients were not, how do I say, it wasn't appreciated from where I guess I have an expectation of. You know, I feel that, like I said, I feel so gifted to do this every day. But every time I'm looking at a person in front of me, I'm always looking at them as what is it that the soul desires? What is it that your life is about? What did you come here from God as a messenger for? What gift is it that you need? What is it that you're to deliver for the world? What part do you play? So that's probably my only question. I'm questioning that a lot about myself. It must be me, maybe I'm not feeling. I'm needing more of these conferences. I need more of these gatherings to bring me back to my own roots. That's what I guess I'm saying. I need maybe to bring myself back to my own roots. So that would be what I would share. Thank you.
Nancy, this is Sue, and I would like to respond to you if that's all right. And again, obviously my belief. You sound very clear on what your intention is and where you're coming from in what you do. And what I would say is, in my opinion, we have no idea, what is occurring within someone else. I mean, other than when we ask to be the channel and we're shown what is going on, or to the degree that we're shown, I guess is the way to say that. And what I would say to you is, as long as you're very clear on what your intention is and what you're doing and what you're about, there's nothing else that you can do. If someone, it's more about them than you if they're not right with you where you are or where you're coming from. They're listening for something else. But it also, I think, means as well, as long as you're following what your guidance is, and you're asking to help, you're asking to be in service. Also, they may say something to you like, well, I just want your psychic ability or whatever. That's okay. You're delivering what you're being asked by Spirit to deliver for this person. And I think it's okay to say that to them. Well, this is what I'm showing you. If they, at that point in time, the other part is about that is that we don't really know when and where and if they will reject what you're saying. All you know is what they're saying to you right now. But I also have confidence for myself anyway that if I'm clean and clear in my intention, I am delivering what Spirit is presenting me to deliver, that at some level that soul, that person will hear. And maybe not today, maybe not in this conscious moment, but on some part of their soul in some area, they're going to hear. So that's what I have to offer is be at peace with yourself, because all you can be responsible for is, in my opinion, is yourself and your intention. And at that point, there's not much else you can do. You've done the service that you have been called to do. And there you go. That's I'm finished. And another 10 minutes. Over.
This is Ying. Hello?
Go
Yes.
ahead, Lynn.
Yeah, I guess I'll just be authentic myself and very present. That's all I have to say. I'm finished.
Hi, this is Thomas. Can you hear me, Amy?
Loud and clear.
Okay. I think there's kind of two parts to what I'd like to offer. One is kind of the theoretical part, and another is more practical application of the theory. Kind of theoretical part is I don't believe in the soul, in the reality of a separate individuated soul that's just mine. My sense is, if anything, I don't have a soul has me. And kind of the bigger image or metaphor way of talking about it is kind of like a bubble of the ocean that's kind of found itself in the spray from one way to another, starting to, or kind of thinking about itself as its own self-existent being, and it's not really that. It's just kind of a little drop of water that's between waves before it goes back in the ocean. For me, the ocean is the real. And the bubbles are the imaginary constructions of the divine thinking about itself, so to speak. And this, now kind of switching into the practical, has influenced my mode of operation when I work or am in play with other people. In some sense, Amy, it's kind of the reverse of the way you described how you operate. For me, somehow or other, I'm always begin or always kind of in that space of oceanness, and then I have to become kind of personal. But the oceanness for me is always first, and I'm always understanding that person as an expression of the divine that has walked through the door, and then it's connecting from the personal place, from the kind of illusion of one bubble kind of communing with another bubble. And rather much like a couple of the other people who've expressed their thoughts tonight, for me it's less about kind of telling them what they need to do. The thing that emerged in my practice over the course of time was the basic question, what is it you really want? And so from that expression on their part, what they offer, for me, that is in effect the expression of the soul, or the expression of that being, that moment of the divine, that's what they're there for. But within what they offer is my own line of sort of a larger frame of reference, or a much larger bubble of already living and expressing and being from the place of the ocean within that. And in that place we can find communion and what is expressed in that book, The Diamond Cutter, that infinite potential of every human, of every being, of every moment of the divine. So that's what I have to offer, and I'm complete for now.
Okay, Amy, we're at 20 after, and we actually didn't get started for about 10 minutes past 8:30 Eastern Time.
Thanks, Sue. Well, thank you, everyone, for sharing your approaches and your perspectives. I found it very wonderfully enriching to hear from each of you where you are and how you think about these things. The language is so difficult, especially the word like soul. There's so much baggage on it. I so much liked hearing how each of you goes about your work as clergy or as light workers, if you're not ordained clergy. I'd like us to check out from our council tonight, inviting you each to comment on what stays in your heart and your mind as you leave tonight. And then after we do check out, we'll do a closing, and then we'll say goodnight. So I'd love to hear your checkout, each of you, if you're willing. What stays in your heart and your mind from this conversation as we're preparing to disembark?
I'll start. Thomas here. This is practical communion. I'm complete.
Topsoil here, and what came to mind for me is the idea of the heart as a bridge between the temporal and the eternal.
This is Sally. What came up for me is a sense of gratitude for the community of sharing that we've had, and also the privilege of the work that I do, which really focuses me so that I do connect with the loving being that I am and kind of rise above the mundane existence that I usually go about in. And what a real privilege it is when I have the opportunity to meet and commune with someone and actually see, have an experience of their soul and how that kind of reflects the quality of my soul, or universal soul, I could say. Thank you.
This is Diane. I would say connection and community, and I'm complete.
This is Nancy, and I feel content with hearing everyone and trying on some of the ideas people have shared. But more than that, I feel wrapped with sort of the mystery of soul, all of our souls, and I'm looking forward to bringing this sort of heightened focus to my interactions with people tonight and tomorrow. I feel like it's been a recalibrating for me. Thank you.
This is Sue. What I think I've heard a lot of and really appreciate it is, however each of you have said it, my words for it are honoring the, I would use words like honor, whether you call it soul or the essence of an individual, honoring that and listening. I've heard again and again the word listening. I listen. I'm reaching to touch and connect with that essence, whatever you may call it, that soul. I smile. I sit here and smile and appreciate being part of this group and having been part of it. Thank you all. And I'm complete. And Amy, we're at 26 after.
So this is Bonnie, and I just feel grateful for the community, for speaking and being able to be heard from all of you. This has been delightful. When I get off the phone, as I do each month, I feel refreshed, I feel renewed, and I feel so energized after one of our coming together. And so they're becoming very important to me, I find. It's like coming home to my own community. So I'm very, very grateful. And I feel very energized. And I thank everybody for that. And now I shall be quiet.
This is Ying. I want to say thank you. I feel very grateful, and I have all this sense of belonging in the community. Thank you.
And this is Amy. I feel filled with joy. Thank you. Okay. I'm going to move into the closing of the circle now. Thank you for joining us for this Spirit Gathering teleconference. This call will be archived as an MP3 file at www.tzaddi.org in a few weeks. Phone access to the recording of this call is available until next month's call. Next month's Spirit Gathering is on May 21st. To get phone access playback of the recording, you dial 712-435-1085 and use access code 990322#. We hope you'll join us for the next Spirit Gathering on May 21st. These calls are hosted by Tzaddi, a spiritual educational organization founded in California as a church in 1964. Tzaddi welcomes, nurtures, and supports people in celebrating and more directly experiencing their relationship with the loving presence of the divine. Our programs are open to people of any race, color, or national or ethnic origin. Please visit www.tzaddi.org to learn more. We'll close now with thanks and a blessing. Thanks to Tzaddi founders Amy Keys and Dorothy Blackmere, who started our church. Thanks to all of you who have been part of our community tonight. And thanks to the divine who supports us always, even when we're not aware of it. Thomas, would you be willing to give the blessing to close?
I can give that a go. divine bless you and keep you. May the divine make its face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the divine uplift its countenance within you and give you peace.
Thank you. So let's imagine now, as we begin to move back into our lives, that we're taking energy from the center of the circle, where it's been flowing into that empty space, that flame, that light, however you imagine or perceive it. The whole group energy is there. We're taking some of that back now into our heart and pulling our spoke back to our own hoop of energy, our own energy field, our own space as an individual. And whatever is left is going out into the universe for the benefit of all beings. Thank you very much for your presence. Have a lovely night. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, Amy.
Good night.